Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Joey Duffy from the amazing Oklahoman band CLIFFDIVER that I've been meaning to have on here for a long time, and I'm glad he's finally with us today. How you doing, Joey?
I'm having a pretty decent day so far. It's getting better now.
Good. I'm glad. Let's have a little fun here today. First thing I just want to say is, I know I said it before we hit record, but thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate what it is you do. I love your music, and I love what you guys are doing, and I love to see good things happen to good people, and you've been touring with some great people, and it's been awesome to see your hard work come to fruition. So thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. I mean, it's a privilege to any chance I get to talk about what we do. It's, my passion. So I love talking about music, and especially my music. So
we'll nerd out on your music, and then we'll nerd out on some other music.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, why don't you give us a quick background? You guys started back in like 2016, 17, 18, started releasing music. Why don't you give us a full story about how everything started to come together, and then how Bree got into the band?
Yeah, sure. So basically, before I joined the band, I ran a local music podcast, doing a lot of the same things that you do. Just trying to get the focus on musicians that I think are talented, that I just think need to be heard by more people. And so I was at shows, 4, 5, 6 times a week, some weeks, 2, 3 shows a night, some nights, just trying to spread kind of the good news of the Tulsa music scene. And while I was doing that, I was meeting a lot of people, meeting a lot of bands. And one of the bands I met was a pop punk band called Much Less that was kind of taking over the pop punk scene in Tulsa at the time. And they were auditioning a new vocalist. So originally I was going to audition for this band with my friend Matt, who played drums in the band. And it just didn't pan out. Matt and I remained good friends, and we're playing Fortnite one night, just hanging out. And he's like, man, I can't find a vocalist. I'm starting this new project, kind of like emo-y, a little shoegazy, but, some fun stuff. And I just can't find anybody to sing. And I was like, well, we talked about this. I sing a bit. Like, what are you looking for? And so I came through and I auditioned and lucked out and got the job with some Say Anything and some Early November covers, which was my kind of background. And from there, we started writing music immediately. Like, they'd had pretty much some instrumentals, and Matt had written a couple songs on the first EP, Small Hours, that he already had finished. He just needed someone to sing them because he didn't want to be the singer. He was learning how to play guitar kind of for the first time because he'd always been a drummer. And so I start learning these songs. I'm writing some with them, and we released the first EP, and it, people in Tulsa seem to really like it. And we start to grind out shows, grind out a bit of a following. And we decided that we'd be really honest about how we present these songs, is like discussions on mental health and about all this kind of stuff, just real vulnerable lyricism as we kind of went forward. And we wrote this second EP called At Your Own Risk, which was about a really bad breakup I had gone through a couple years prior. And it was my first time writing all the lyrics, and I was obsessed. Like, from then on, it was like, that was all I wanted to do. I just wanted to write. I wanted to, create new songs, because I'd convinced myself when I was like 19 that I couldn't write music, that I couldn't write lyrics. I was bad at it. Former gifted kid. First time I don't do something perfectly, I'm like, I'm done with that. I'm never going to do it again.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because if I was good, I'd just be, natural. And so I joined CLIFFDIVER at 30 as a side note. So I, a little late according to some, but once you get in your 30s, you find out that that's all, bullshit. And that, 30 is still super young. And so we start writing, we're putting out this EP, and it's super kind of intense, and I'm going through it really tough, dealing with the breakup still kind of associated with this EP, and not taking care of myself. And, my son moves away, and it's all this kind of chaos, and we're writing all these weird songs. And then we're really getting pumped up to ramp it up in 2020. We have like 5 tours planned, and CLIFFDIVER's taking over the world. And, obviously we had to pause for a bit. And
there's something happened in 2020. I forget.
I can't remember what it was. It was something like kind of unchill, I think.
Yeah.
And, so Matt and I are sitting there in lockdown, kind of FaceTiming, trying to write some songs. And so we write this song it's on the new album. It's called Death is a Wedding. And it was about this dream I was having, where an ex-fiance of mine who had taken her own life was kind of like haunting me, for lack of a better word, where she'd come in these dreams and tell me that, I'd always be alone and I'd die or whatever. And so, it's better off for me just to go be with her than to keep suffering. And so I'm like, Matt, we got to write this song. So we write this song. I'm fired up. I send it, to my friend Brianna, who's in a different band in town, but I know really likes this kind of emo music, this kind of like post-hardcore, Me Without You, really poetic, screamo type stuff. And I send it to her, and she's like, man, I love this song. I'm so excited about this song for y'all. I wish I could write music like this. I wish I could sing music like this. She's in a soul, kind of like Americana soul band in Tulsa at the time, and still Nightingale, incredible band. And we had kind of become friends because we were both in the scene for a long time, and we both loved the same music. And she always loved that I was open about my mental health on social media, just kind of really laying out what I was struggling with. And so we're going back and forth about like this writing process, about us writing these new songs. And around that time, Matt and I had started tooling around with this song called Gas City. We were like, man, let's write something ridiculous, something silly, something that's fun, something that's going to feel like just a hug, because people are not doing well right now. You know, a lot of people who had never struggled with depression, with anxiety, with these kind of like panic attacks, you know, we're starting to see things collapse around them. And you see this kind of upswell of people just being miserable, you know, and terrified. And so we're like, okay, we're going to write a silly song. And I want my friends from Tulsa to be on it, like my favorite singers. I'm going to invite them to sing on this track. And then when we drop it, it'll be this big surprise, and it'll make everyone's day, make everyone smile. And so I asked my friend Daniel Baisden, who sings on the verse and the choruses with me, from the band When the Clock Strikes, an incredible pop punk band from here in Tulsa, to sing on it. And then I hit up Bree, and I was like, you know, we were talking about you wanting to do this kind of music, so why don't you come lay down like the bridge, like some big part, and let's just be silly. And she was like, yeah, okay, that sounds fun. So they come in, Daniel kills it. We're getting really excited about this track. And then Bree steps into the booth and just blows your mind. I mean, like, blew my mind. Me and Matt are just looking at each other, just like, oh my gosh. Because I like to think I'm a good singer, but Brianna's a different kind of good singer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you hear that in the booth, raw for that first time, and you're like, oh man, this song is about to be, you know, one of our best songs because of how good Brianna is. And then after the process was over, we're outside and me and Matt are talking. And I'm like, man, you know, we messed up, right? And he's like, how do you mean? I said, if we ever play that song live and Bree isn't singing her part and you have me or you singing that part, people are going to be pissed. People are going to be pissed. They're going to hate it. And I said, so what if, now hear me out here, hear me out. Because at this time, she's in an established band in Tulsa, and we are an established band. Like, you know, we're on Chillwave, we're playing shows, we're going on tour. Like, we have, you know, growing months.
Your foundation is there.
Yeah. And so I turned to Matt and I'm like, what if we invite Bree to join the band? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, what if we had two lead singers? What if we did the Mayday Parade, Taking Back Sunday, all that, but with me and Bree? No one would sound like us. And he's like, you're right. No one does sound like that because that's ridiculous. And then he's like, but what if we did? And I was like, what if we did? And so I text her and I'm like, hey, real talk, why don't you join the band? And she's like, whatever, you know, haha, very funny, very funny. I'm glad the song went well. You know, I love you guys. And I'm like, Brianna, listen to me. What if you join the band? If you join the band, I promise you that we could do something crazy together. You and me, like, we could do something crazy. And you've always wanted to do this anyway, you know? So this is your chance. Like, the pandemic, like the lockdown had just ended. And I'm like, let's do something weird. Like, this could all go away tomorrow. Like, let's not play it safe. Like, let's try something crazy. And I still think it's one of the greatest musical heists of all time, convincing her to join our band. But, you know, I'm forever thankful that she did, because when she did it, it changed everything, obviously, for a lot of reasons. But me as a performer, especially, having her on stage with me every night, especially doing all this touring we've done this year, it's like forced me to get better. Because it's like, if I don't, I'm going to sound real bad. Not just like kind of off, but it'll be like, ooh, buddy, so it's been a blessing because I've grown stronger as a performer. And, you know, some people asked me when she joined the band, was like, you know, you're giving up being the sole guy in this band. Like, you're giving, like, it's your band, it's your voice, it's your, you know, like, not my band. I'm not saying I am CLIFFDIVER, you know, but you know what I mean? Like, you get to be the front man. Like, aren't you scared that it won't be as good? And I was like, listen to me. I don't have an ego in this department. And anytime they're not listening to me, they're listening to Brianna Wright, the best singer I know, sing in my, you know, in the band. So it's like, I'm good. All it's going to do is push me to get better. And it has. And it's been pretty fantastic. I mean, that's kind of catching you up to now. I mean, we went through a lot writing that album and all the touring. It's definitely been a growth process. And having 7 to 9 people in a van for several thousand miles is also
Yeah.
no process.
Yeah, I mean that's not, unless you're a full ska band, you don't have everything that goes into that.
Right,
And
we're ska adjacent. That's
ska
what we've
ish.
decided. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
ska-ish. Like
ish.
there's you know, no one gets mad if you're a ska fan. Well, except for the true ska fans, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We're right there.
yeah, you got horns there. And honestly, with the saxophone in the songs, and I've pointed it out to some people, I'm like, sometimes it's placed so perfectly and it's so mellow and it fits into the song so well. I'm like, you don't know it's there, but the second your ear hears it, you know it's there. I'm like, it's a perfect placement in a song. I'm like, and some of them I go back and I'm like, it's almost like this could have like come out in 1985.
Which is funny you said that, because when Bree first joined the band, and before Gil, our other guitarist, and helps write a lot of the melodies and harmonies and lyrics and stuff like that. So before he joined, we were writing like almost like a Cure album, a Cure EP. It was like weird new wave, like lots of synths and all this kind of stuff. It was crazy. So it's funny you say that, because we're definitely influenced by kind of that era of music, especially the Cure. I mean, Robert Smith forever. The Smiths can die. I fucking hate Morrissey. So
No, I sent yesterday. There was a whatchamacallit, there was a post out there from Morrissey a couple years ago that said, cows aren't your food, they're your friends. And Robert Smith's reply was, name one cow you're friends with.
See, that's why I like Robert Smith. Yeah. Plus, Bree's not here to get mad at me when I say bad things about Morrissey. So
listen. I don't get it either. I'm an all-time Cure fan. They are. Listen,
Disintegration is perfect. I mean, listen, Robert Smith could have written, there is a light that never goes out, but Morrissey could not have written Disintegration. That's all I have to say about that.
And I'm still waiting for Robert Smith's 2 albums that we're supposedly getting this year. So
I found The Cure through the Blink 182 self-titled album.
Really?
Yeah, it was the first time I'd heard knowingly heard The Cure. I was like 16, I think. So the internet music wasn't as much of a thing as it is now. So when I heard him sing, I was like, dude, this guy's got an awesome voice. Like, oh yeah, The Cure, I've heard of them. And then I deep dove, and then I became a sad boy for life. So,
I was lucky. I had an older sister, and I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So having an older sister, it just lent itself to me finding out what new wave was.
I was the older brother of 2 brothers, and they know a lot of music because they had to listen to it in the car with me. So
you had control.
Exactly. And I've never stopped craving that feeling.
So what was it in your life when you were a kid that brought you to music? Well, do you have a memory that just completely shifted you as a child, where you heard music for the first time and you're like, what the fuck?
Sure. I mean, I grew up like most kids in Oklahoma in church. So that's probably my earliest memories of music, but just like the sense of awe and of, something otherworldly and bigger than myself, came in to me through music. And I remember the first time I was like, this is something I want to do. I was probably 5 or 6, and my dad had seen Phantom of the Opera in Dallas, and he grew up in inner city Detroit. Not a lot of musicals in his life, except for the ones that even later, the ones we were in, but was not a big musical theater guy. But Phantom blew his mind, right? And so we're driving in the car all the time, and he's playing the soundtrack and telling us the story. Oh, this is when he's on this boat. And I remember the first time I heard the song, Phantom of the Opera, I was like, oh, holy shit. This dude, the first time he sang, I was like, oh, you can do that? I didn't know you could do that. That is crazy. I want to do that. I want to be able to, because there's power and it's storytelling and it's all these things I loved. And that was it for me. That was it. And ever since then, I wanted to do something in music, something in maybe musical theater was really what I was into for a long time. And there's a lot of that. If you ever see our live shows, there's a lot of theatricality in my performance. But I always knew that I wanted to be a storyteller, that I wanted to be able to like make people feel things. And then as I started to get older and, you know, mental illness started to kind of hang out when I was 13, 14, it changed. It became this like act of rebellion. Like, you know, I could only buy my albums at Mardell's, the Christian bookstore. So I started buying Hawk Nelson and, you know, Reliant K. And then I started finding out about like hardcore music, and I was buying Demon Hunter and like getting more and more into this kind of more intense style of music that kind of soothed the raging hormones and ADD and depression, you know? And from that, I was at church camp. I'll never forget it. And this kid who was a drummer gave me the first three of the Blink-182 albums. He gave me Enema of the State, Mark, Tom, and Travis Show, and Take Off Your Pants. And then everything was different. After that, I was like, holy fuck. Once again, this is it now. Pop punk is everything. This is all I want to do. And that was it. I was obsessed with Blink-182 for forever. Blink-182, Weezer, that was it. That was all I listened to. And then one fateful day, I bought 2 albums the same day. One was the Vans Warped Tour compilation 2002. And the other one was Let It Enfold You by Senses Fail. And that took me, you know, to where I am today, this love for the emo, for the more like poetically destructive lyrics. And man, there was nothing else. There was nothing else for me. Nothing else like saved me, like you said earlier, me like being 17, being suicidal, being told that like it's only because I wasn't praying enough or, you know, whatever else. And, you know, I'd been screaming at my ceiling for as long as I can remember. And the only thing that made me feel peace was other people who I thought understood what I was going through, because everyone else was, you know, smiles. Everything is peace and love and joy and patience, you know, all this kind of church talk, this Christianese, when I'm like, no, but there's something wrong and no one will really address it.
Yeah, there's not perfection every waking moment.
Yeah,
there's always destruction going on in the background, and that's usually your own head. And that was my destruction in life was my head always telling me that I'm not good enough, even though every day that I wake up, I strive to be the best that I can be at what I'm doing at that time. And I'm okay if I don't reach being the best, but the minute that feeling of I'm no longer working to be the best at something, that's when everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, that's how it is. So when I start, you know, getting those first failures, getting those first heartbreaks, that's when it started to get really bad for me. And music always kind of kept me sane. I mean, worst periods of my life when I was in the Army for a couple of years and, you know, going through some real shit. And I never deployed or anything like that. I did all my time garrison. I joined active duty to see the world, and I got stuck in Oklahoma, being from Oklahoma. So that's
that
that's the typical, you know, military Army experience. Especially, I signed up to do psychological operations and be stationed in Italy. And when I got out of you know, the swearing in process, I was doing field artillery in Lawton, Oklahoma, and I still don't know what happened, you know?
Hey, listen, I was warned before I went in. My brother was a Marine. I joined the Army, and he goes, doesn't matter what you sign up for. That's not what you're going to do. And just so you know, just be prepared for nothing of what you think it's going to be.
Right. Exactly.
Everyone is telling me not to do it. And I did sign up for infantry, and I ended up doing that and being deployed and all that. But I signed up to see the world. I got to do it, but I got a lot of bad shit from it as well. But at the same time, you know, I look back now and I'm lucky that I'm here to be able to look back at that and just be like, it took me many years to be like, it's okay. Like you did something. It's okay that you did it and you can be proud of it. And like, for the longest time, I never talked about my military experience. I never like told anybody. I never supported when I should have back soldiers that were in. I was kind of ashamed of being in the military for a long time. And then I actually had my father, who was a Vietnam vet, started talking about the military. He'd never done that before. And once I started to see him start to open up about it, I was like, oh, I guess we can talk about this. And I guess I
Right.
should be proud that, I did something that people will never do, and people will never understand it. And it took me a long time, but now, now I'm an Army football season ticket holder. I'm a tried and true, like, let's go. Like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm proud of it. I did it. I survived, and I'm here to be okay with it. And, just like a lot of people, it's tough.
Yeah. It's not easy. Well, and that's the thing is, like, no matter what level you go through, like if you serve, like I served garrison, right? I was an assistant instructor at the schoolhouse. I never left AIT. So how's that for a
Wow.
fun joke? And, but everyone there was, always rotated back off deployment, right?
Yeah.
And so we'd go out and you'd see these guys who play tough all day, get a couple drinks in them, and then everyone was just breaking down.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting 1,000-yard stare. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it makes a lot more make sense when you're in training. These guys are brutal to an extent. Like they've closed off the part of them that has some of that empathy and stuff. And then I started to understand the kind of unpackaging and then why they have to, like, to an extent, especially back when I was in, like, break people so they don't get broken when it matters. And but it was like a whole thing, is because to an extent, I love the Army, but where I was stationed, especially, it was the most toxic thing you've ever met. Just like people who hated their jobs, hated their lives, and anyone who had any kind of joy in the schoolhouse, they just crushed it, and it was tough. It was tough. It was a tough time. But, like, I used to be embarrassed of the fact that I never went overseas. Like I volunteered for 11 deployments because at the time, I wanted to die. I didn't care if I died, really. And so I'm like, man, but at least if I go over there, I can try and help my buddies out who are over there. And I want to be over there with them, all that kind of stuff. And I always felt ashamed. Like I wasn't a real veteran for a long time because, I didn't deploy, even though I was active duty for, almost 3 years.
Yeah, but you did something more than half the people in the U.S. will do, is sign your name and actually serve.
Right.
And
that's what a friend of mine said. He goes, you raised your hand just like anyone else, and you didn't know where you're going.
Yeah.
So, like, you played the game, and
I didn't know where I was going. I thought we were at peacetime, and in the mid 90s, I was like, oh, we're good, everything's over, and
everything's chill.
Yeah, and it wasn't, and you know what I mean. But at the same time, what saved me and my life in the military was music.
Yeah,
and because I found like-minded people, and the minute I found them, the first thing we did was start a band. I walked in. There was this place over in Kuwait. It was this little R&R place that had a bass, a guitar, and drums. And I walk in, and there were these guys playing music, and there was a drummer. I could tell an old, like, jazz drummer, and I was more punk rockish. And he got off the kit, went to the bathroom. I jumped on. We started playing, and, like, that was it. It was like, hey, here we are.
Right.
Holy shit. We just started a fucking band. Who else started a band in Kuwait?
Kuwait, yeah.
And, they're my brothers to this day. Like, and it's just one of those things that no one will understand, but that music was what saved us. And to have, like, different backgrounds, like we had a guy who's like, all he listened to was ska. That was it. He was ska. Then our lead singer was, all he listened to, like, don't talk to him about anything else but Social Distortion. Like, he's like, Mike Ness, nothing else exists but Social Distortion. And I'm over here. I'm like, dude, I got the Cure. I got the Posies. I got, even before Blink was out, I was like, Face to Face. Like, oh, I'm like, throwing all these, and they're like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, yeah, I'm a nerd, dude. I love everything, and bringing up, and that's when emo was coming out, and, like, I was like, yo, did you hear this band Sunny Day Real Estate? Like, and they're like, what the fuck are you listening to? How do you find all this shit? I was like, just some cool guy at the local record stores just handed me stuff saying, you got to check this out.
Right.
And our life was saved by music, because we would stay up late at night, and just talk about music all night long.
Yeah. No, and that was the same even in, like, basic. I found the other emo kids, And we'd be like, dude, you listen to Attack Attack yet? And we'd be like doing push-ups and be like, oh yeah, dude, that one line. And then every weekend we'd be going out and blasting Screamo in the car. And like, those were the people, because that was the safe place, because they understood that like music was something else.
It's that community. And that's what I try to get back to it. And you look at, and that's what I always talk about with going to a show. I'm like, no one there is a stranger. They're just friends you haven't met yet, because you're all there for the same reason. And if you talk to someone at a show that you're there to see that same band, you're instantaneously a friend.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was doing before I joined the band, was just going to shows and being like, oh, you like this? I like this too. Who are you? I'm Joey, let's be friends. And that's how I met, everybody in the scene, was just showing up and being like, oh, I love what you guys do. I want to do this too. What should, how can I do it? Let me do it. Let me steal the mic, whatever it is. So
was this your first attempt at being in a band?
So I had a band in high school. We had like 2 songs.
What was the name of that band?
Forgotten Tomorrow was the original name, which is an awesome band name.
That's a great band name. That's a lot better than a lot of first band names I've had here.
And then our guitarist, outvotes me with the other guys and says Abandoned Wakes is better.
Nope.
No, I'm like, no, Forgotten Tomorrow is such a good band name. Abandoned Wakes doesn't even make sense, and it's dumb and whatever. But we had like 3 songs. We played one show. Our band opened for Ben Rector's band at the time. We went to the same high school. And our drummer took like 3 drum solos in the middle of songs that didn't have drum solos in them. Like, he was just like, I'm going to take one. We're like, dude, fuck no. And he would just go for it. And like, he gave Say It Ain't So by Weezer 2 different drum solos. And that's not a song that requires any drum solos.
No.
He had his own thing. And and then I tried to find a band in college, but the only band, I briefly joined a band that was a Deftones cover band, kind of like they just wanted to be the Deftones. And
hard thing to be.
And I couldn't scream. I wanted to. God knows I tried, but I didn't know how to. And so we did one band practice, and we did like that cover of what's that? My Own Summer or whatever. The shove it. And so I started screaming, and they all staring at me. They're like, oh no. And I called my mom the night before. I'm like, I'm dropping out of college. Like, we're going on tour. You don't even understand. And then they kicked me out the next day. And then I didn't do it. I just convinced myself I couldn't. I was going through some really, really, really shitty stuff for most of my 20s. And it was more just like, I was just trying to survive. I got my musical output through karaoke, which is still to this day one of my passions. But that was it. I had to perform. I had to sing. I had to yell. And karaoke was the only way I could do it for a long time. And then, CLIFFDIVER is my first like real band that I've ever been a part of. And it's awesome.
It is awesome. I will agree to that. Now, when you're, coming up, playing music, doing everything you do, and trying to not be labeled as a hard thing nowadays, right? With genres and subgenres, and where would you place yourself? I mean, you've brought it up, you've said the word numerous amount of times, and E is not a bad word, but I don't necessarily. It's hard for me because I don't necessarily clock you as an emo band.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't either.
And I don't know what. And that's the thing. I don't know what to put you under. If
Which
anybody were to ask me,
that's what we want. That's what we want. Like originally, like the second EP is a little bit more of like a traditional Midwest emo tappy thing, meeting kind of some indie rock pop punk sensibilities. But emo is just kind of the word that we latched onto first, because it was more about our live shows with me just like screaming and throwing myself around, really working through some emotionality, that people started calling us that online. And we were like, okay, whatever. And then someone called us an elevator emo band because we had the saxophone. And so we stuck with that for a long time. And then we went to disc golf emo and then like all this other stuff. But, really, we were described once as kind of an easy core band. And I was like, that's actually probably closer. But we kind of want to be nothing. We just want to remind you of all the things that you like. Like, yeah, sure, there's some emo elements, there's some pop punk elements, there's some easycore elements, there's some ska elements, but there's some post-hardcore to it. There's some indie sensibilities, like all these different things. And with this new album that we're writing, well, heck, we might just become an indie band. Who knows? But that's kind of the joy of writing whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we have always tried to be unique, and like something that's nostalgic reminds you of the things that you love, but in its own way. And I think half of the fun lately has been like, okay, what song is Matt gonna write? Like, how are the guitars gonna be? We have no idea. And every time he sends an email with a new like scratch idea, we're like, oh, this is completely different than what it was. And I think that is important, especially in today's, scene and culture. Is like, there's a billion bands in any genre. And like, there's so many people all kind of trying to get to that top place in this one scene or genre or whatever it is. And the ones that I see really being successful lately, that I think have longevity, are the bands that kind of defy genre, because like Hot Mulligan, right? They're not an emo band, but they're not a pure pop punk band. They're kind of in the middle, like Cool Kids. Like, what are they? They're kind of indie, but they're kind of emo. Like Carpool's another example. All these bands that are like doing something that's different, that it's not quite what you want to label it as. And those are the ones that I think are usually the most fun live too, because you have no idea what the next song's going to be like. And that's what I want. I want people to never feel like they know what we're doing. Because that, I think, makes people engage more in the music. And especially when we put a lot of intention behind like how we structure songs and our lyrics and how that ties into the overall storytelling. Like, we want you to be paying attention so that you're caught off guard when we hit the hard topics, especially live. So I don't know. I take anybody who says any genre, I go, yeah, thanks, dude. Like, that's just what it is. It doesn't matter to me. I hope we transcend the genre conversation one day.
Well, and that's the problem nowadays, is that something has to fall on somewhere to fall on some kind of playlist somewhere. But my big thing of pointing that out is you're writing different songs, and just what people try to figure out when it comes to stuff. You can stay in a lane and try to be the biggest emo band in the world, but if you're expanding your sound, all you're also doing is expanding your audience. Because you're bringing in other people who like other types of music, who can fall in love with, say you get new fans off of Exercise Your Demons, they'll fall in love with you off of this and go into Small Hours, and it's completely different, but they can fall in love with for totally different reasons now.
Right. It's all different, but it's all CLIFFDIVER. Like, even the singles we've released, like Gas City and Water Temple, are completely different than any of the albums we have out, but they all give you that same vibe, that same CLIFFDIVER like touch to it. And that's what we want to do going forward. Is like, there were people when we put out At Your Own Risk that hated it because they wanted more Small Hours sounding music, and there are people who didn't like Exercise Your Demons because they're like, well, why isn't it the exact same as this last album? And we're like, well, because we're not those people.
Yeah.
And we're not that band.
We're allowed to mature in life.
Right. And I get it, because I was that guy for a long time who was like, well, that album sucks. And they completely forgot how, just because it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And that's really helped me lately, is like revisiting some of those albums by bands that I used to love. And I was like, this album sucks because where's the screaming at? I'm out. It's like having a little more grace towards people, artists just being people. Like, we're not some transcendent, like, people who can't ever do anything wrong. Like, we just are doing our best. So
now, this will probably be really tough. You're gonna have to pick your favorite child here. But if you had to play a song by CLIFFDIVER for someone that never heard of CLIFFDIVER before, what song would you play for them?
This new song we're recording right now, which is a cop out, but
it is a cop out.
If I had to Usually the one I'll send people usually either Water Temple, because that's my kind of favorite, or I'll send them Death is a Wedding because that's my favorite from the new album, and I think it shows Brie and I off a lot. But then at the same time, it's like you send them one song, then they're going to expect the rest of it to sound like that, and so that's hard with us. But maybe Vegas Bomb. I think Vegas Bomb is the one I'd send people now, is because it kind of encapsulates everything we're trying to do. It's got yells, it's got ska, it's got, chugs and breakdowns and riffs and, a little bit of the back and forth. So that's probably the one. That's final answer.
Final answer? All right. I got 3 to choose from. So I know what to play for people. It'd be like, this is what he would want you to listen to.
Well, it's going to be eventually, hopefully, the name of the song. We don't know what it's going to be, but my name of the new song right now is called That's Disc Golf, Baby, and that's going to be our best song yet. So that's the one I'm going to tell people to listen to.
Well, it's great to hear that you're, working on new music, even with an album coming out 7 months ago now.
Yeah, we're writing LP2 right now. Our goal is to get it out as quick as we can. I mean, not as quick as we can. Obviously, we're taking our time to write it, and we're not taking really any shows right now to spend time doing it right. But we've got to talk to some insane producers who want to make it. So we're really excited about kind of the future. Because it's small. I mean, Exercise Your Demons, we wrote really quickly when we were still trying to figure out what the band was with Gil and with Bree and with me, and like how was that really going to work. So a lot of it was, experimentation and the scientific method. We try things and see if they worked, and like there's still an element of that. But even when we were in the studio for this new song, it was like, oh, we know what we're doing together now. We know what we're kind of looking for in certain places. And
yeah, the template's laid now.
Exactly. We at least understand each other and what we're where we're coming from when we're writing songs. So there's it's never been an ego-filled process, but I think especially now it's like whatever makes the song best. Like everyone leaves it all at the door. You throw out your lines, you throw out your melodies, but if someone has one that's better, it's just, this is for all of us. So you have to give a little bit sometimes when you don't want to, but that's having 7 people in the band. But it's been great. I mean, I always love the part of the process that I'm not doing the most. So when I was on tour, I was like, man, I can't wait to write this album. I can't wait. I'm so pumped. And now we're starting to write it. I'm like, I just want to record this album. That's what I really like. That's the part I really like. And I know once we do that, I'm like, dude, I just want to play these songs live. When can I play these songs live? So it's we all love it. We love getting to write music, and we love being able to that it's an easy process for us together, because not everyone's that lucky. We can just sit down in an afternoon usually and lay down a kind of an outline for a song with all the parts we need, and we just demo it out immediately at Matt's house and just build from there. So it's a really fun process, and it's also the first album I've ever written since I quit drinking. So I'm excited to explore a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, now I'm excited to hear that non-drinking album.
It's going to be Existential Dread 101, but that's just CLIFFDIVER in general. So this time it'll be about not running from the scary thoughts.
Do you feel that, for me, it's in a short period of time, you guys have kind of really taken off, like a slow rise, but I think you guys have caught where you're supposed to be, and there's the only way is to go up from here. Has it been surreal at all to you to see like how fast this has taken shape?
Yeah, it's weird because it's definitely like this kind of like duality that exists at the same time, where it's like, man, this has been my obsession for like almost 5 years now. And Matt and I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands, maybe thousands of hours dreaming about the future, about, what it could be like when we're doing these tours, when we're playing, music in California, whatever. And really just made it our whole world. So like, it is surreal because like you dream about it for so long and you make it your everything and you think maybe it'll work out. And when it started to kind of trend towards like, oh, holy cow, like we're a real band, because every band wants to make it, every local band has dreams of playing, the big festival with Newfound Glory and 4 Years Strong and stuff like that, or opening for the Descendants and all the stuff that we got to do this year. It is surreal. It is surreal. Even though I've spent all my waking time, like how many nights I couldn't fall asleep because I'm dreaming about the future, dreaming about what the band could be. And now like this year has kind of done wonders to shut up my imposter syndrome, because my anxiety is one of my greatest like foes every day. And so like this feeling, like you were saying earlier, of just like, you're not good enough. This negative self-talk that had permeated every bit of my life of like, you are a failure, you are a fuck up, you are a burnout, and you're a piece of shit. Like that is who you are. So trying to be anything besides that will always fail because you are a failure. And that was like my narrative for like 10, 12 years, And so having to break that, and it really wasn't able to be broken until I, quit drinking in 2021, because I didn't want to fuck up the band, because I knew we had this opportunity. Like we just finished writing the Exercise Your Demons, and I was listening to it, and I'm having this panic attack about like, what if things go right? And all of a sudden this was this new feeling to have this much hope. And hope, when you're not used to hope, is horrifying. You're like, oh no, what if things are good? I haven't prepared for this eventuality. You know what I mean? So this year, when things started to really start to move for us, around the time, we announced the album and the signing with Side One Dummy and started getting these tours, it was a lot at first, and it still didn't feel real. Like playing some of those like 2,000 cap rooms with Bowling for Soup and Less Than Jake, it's still like, it felt like I was somebody else, experiencing this, like it couldn't be me. And then I think it was, probably somewhere along Riot Fest, I think was the first time it like hit. They're like, you're doing it. Like you are a real band. Like you are in the scene. You exist. Like your lifelong childhood dream. Like, God, if you could have shown 17-year-old you who was starting to hurt himself, like that it was going to be okay in this way, or even 3 years ago, you, that it was going to be okay. Like it was this moment of just like beauty. And I was like, oh, holy shit. Like I'm getting interviewed by Spin and freaking Lagwagon's playing like right next to me. You know what I mean? And I was like, whoa, wait a second. So, I mean, it's been awesome though. I mean, it's still back and forth to the surrealness and to try and be present and to try and feel it. But usually when I feel it too much, I'll cry on stage and then I'll get made fun of by the band. But that's just who I am as a person. I cry every time that Budweiser commercial where the dog's waiting for the dude to come home, all night. Man, that gets me. I'm a crier. It's all right. Men cry,
We do. And, it's okay.
Exactly. But I mean, I think the other part of it, like doing it at 30, like starting at 30, like that was beyond, like how many people were like, are you sure? You should be focusing on investing and buying a house and in building for your future and all these kind of things. I remember right before we recorded At Your Own Risk, I was working for this appliance store, living pretty comfortably, making good money especially for someone like me. Like I was making like 50 grand a year. That's more money than I ever need. I was doing all kinds of drugs, but that's neither here nor there. But it was like my boss, I remember I told him I needed time off, and he was like, man, listen to me. I'm not trying to be a dick. And, I've listened to your music, but like, don't give up this for something that's not going to work out. And I was like, you know what? Even if it doesn't, I don't want to be 48, 49, 50, being that guy at the bar going, yeah, I was in a band, but, I had to give up that dream for whatever. I'm going to swing at it. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, hell, you've accomplished way more than you ever dreamed, before this process. And that's kind of where it is now. It's being able to sit here and go, dude, you are doing it. You are a co-lead singer in a signed touring band. Like it's the coolest. I'm so thankful and grateful that this is what I get to do. I mean,
Well,
it's
I'm
everything.
thankful you didn't stay at that job because here's my thing. The future's not promised, right?
No,
So planning for the future and doing certain things tomorrow, we don't know if it's going to come or not. We don't know until we open our eyes, right? So no one fucking knows. So if you're here now, you're here and alive now, and you have an opportunity to try something and you don't fucking try it, then you wasted your fucking life. That's the way I look at it. You wasted your life.
And that's how I looked at even like quitting drinking. It's like, dude, listen to me. You are 35 years old. Like, who are you going to be? Who do you want to be? All right. Well, if we're not doing that, when do you think you're going to change? You think you're going to just wake up at 46 and be like, all right, time to get in shape, time to start worrying about my health or whatever. It's like who you're becoming is who you're going to be. So like now is the time. Now is the only time you have to make any changes in your life. And that's a weird concept at first. It's this weird, like, yeah, you want to be playing Riot Fest. You want to be, opening for Bowling for Soup and Less Than Jake. Well, then what are you doing right now today to get there? And if your answer is nothing, well, like, do it. Just do it. Like, do it. Now's the only time you can't change things tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Now. That's all you have.
Do nothing, expect nothing. That's it.
Exactly. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to show my son that sometimes life gets too hard and it'll beat the life out of you. And you can still do whatever it is that you are passionate about, whatever it is you love. Like you are capable of everything despite genetics, having kind of shown that he has a lot of the same struggles that I do. And I know he's going to need a dad who can show him without any hesitation, without anything else, that like things can get better when you dedicate yourself to getting healthy, like mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is. Like when you invest in yourself, like things can turn around. And that's one of my big motivators. And also, I feel like I owe it to me at 17, me at 22, me at 26, me at 24, all these times I had the gun, to the head or was, putting myself in danger because I didn't care if I died because I knew that things could never be okay. And I owe it to that kid to keep going and to try to follow this dream as far as it'll go, because like I can now retroactively look at all those times that kid was hurt and talk to him in a way that's going, hey, look, we're still here. And look at what we've been able to do. Like, it's okay now. Like, we can breathe a little bit. It's obviously, I still struggle. Every day is a struggle. But, like, it's easier now. It's not as dire. It doesn't feel like I'm teetering between life and death like I did for 17, 18 years. Now it's just like, God, today sucks. Today sucks. But you know what? It's going to be okay because I know tomorrow probably won't suck. And I know later today probably won't suck. But right now it sucks. And instead of running from that, I just go, and that's okay. That's okay.
And that's the hardest part when you're struggling is to think about when it's not going to suck anymore because the suck is so bad. And, there's certain things I try to say equate it as a snake. A snake sheds its skin, right? And once it sheds its skin, it feels better. It's shiny and it's bright. That skin that was holding him back from the bad times, once that's gone, but guess what? It's going to happen again.
Yeah.
A snake doesn't shed once throughout its life. So you just listen, the good times, they'll be there. The bad times, they're going to be there. And we just got to figure out how to get through that bad 10 minutes of your day. How do we do it? And that's awesome that you found that and that you continue to find something new every day, right? You're finding something new, whether it's catharsis in writing a song or just looking at something and bringing a smile to your face or listening to someone else's music and being like, fuck yeah. And like, that's what it's all about. And it's I'm 100% with you when it comes to looking at that kid that was 17 years old, that was in such a bad place. And looking back, and again, to where I am today in my life, I tell people all the time, I'm in my mid 40s. And if anyone asks me if I had any regrets, I say absolutely not.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that. And they're like, how do you not have any regret in your life? I'm like, because if I had any regret, I wouldn't be the person I am today or where I am today.
Yeah. And that was something I learned in therapy. When I started in therapy and also through CLIFFDIVER, was like, we do these shows and I'd have all these conversations with people about these horrible things that they've been through. And I was able to be like, hey man, I've been through that. And so like these times that I thought were meant to kill me, like actually put me in that position to then I can help someone else. Then I can be that voice of reason that I needed then, someone telling me it's going to be okay. And like, that's been the most powerful thing is like all these things that I really thought ruined my life made me the person I am to be in this position. So like, you got to let go of those regrets. Yeah, sure. Maybe things didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted. Maybe you made some bad choices. Maybe you were a dick. Maybe you alienated your friends, whatever. Like you can always go back and make amends, all that kind of stuff. But like, here's the thing, who you are, you can't change it. So
No.
if you spend all your time trying to rewrite what has happened, you're missing out on where you are right now. If you spend all your time in the past or worrying about how your past is affecting your future, you're never going to be here to be able to actually affect it. Yeah. So I feel that. I feel that, but that is the message. If there was one behind CLIFFDIVER, it's that like, man, life sucks sometimes, but you're not the only person that feels this way.
Yeah.
And it's not always gonna suck. So we're gonna talk about the suck. We're gonna feel the suck together, especially live. That's most of our show is being like, you guys ever wanted to die? And everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like, me too. That's what this song's about. I wanted to die when I wrote this song, but guess what? I don't anymore. And so like, if I can get to this place and I'm an idiot, then anybody with a little love and patience can too. And so we want to be able to be that thing. Because, when we were younger, when I was younger, listening to Senses Fail, like when I'm suicidal at 17 and the song's about killing yourself, I'm like, hell yeah, let's fucking romanticize death, because that's the great escape. Everything will be better, and then I didn't have that band that was like, no, fuck that shit. We're not romanticizing the sadness. We are experiencing the sadness and then we're letting it go. And then we're going to try and deal with the sadness, and that's what we try and do. We try and keep it vulnerable and keep it honest, not because, we're trying to be cool or, whatever. It's because people need it. People need to hear from the bands that I think they love, that like, we're just people and we're struggling too. We just have different ways we communicate it, Oh,
that's a great way to put it. Is there a band in your life that when you are going through, whether it's a good time or a bad time, a band that you always turn to that never lets you down in your life other than your own band?
Yeah, Taylor Swift, 100%. That's my go-to. That's my go-to. Bad days, heck yeah, let's listen to Folklore. Let's get real sad. Good days, I'm feeling 22. I'm dancing, I'm vibing. Like, so T Swift has been my number one artist on Spotify for the last 3 years. I am not ashamed to admit it. She can write a chorus like it's no one's business. But when it's not T Swift, I probably Taking Back Sunday is one, a major one that's like, yeah, let's deal with it. Let's get through it, or Say Anything, is another big one for me, where it's like, good days, all right, I got my good day songs. Bad days, I got those too. Whatever it is, I can go through that. But I mean, there's probably a good 30 bands, the same bands for the last like 20 years. But I've started adding to that. Like Carpool is one of those bands now. Never disappoints. No matter what mood I'm in, Carpool makes things a little bit better. And music has always been that for me. Like that's just the thing. I'm feeling good. I need to be listening to a song while I'm feeling good. Let's make it really good. If I'm feeling down, I don't want to just sit in this silence. I want to be able to cry while listening to, Chris Carrabba, tell you how you broke his heart. Like, that's what I need.
That's one of my biggest things too, is like when I'm feeling down, trying to figure out how down I am. Do I want to cry or do I
Right.
want to be happy again? Like finding that playlist for that specific moment of feeling down. All
Yeah.
right, how down am I? Do I really want to cry and get this all out, or do I want to be happy again? How does this work?
Right. Are we listening to Boys Don't Cry, or are we listening to Disintegration? Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? How sad are we going? I feel that for sure. Am I miserable at best today? Or can I get away with just like, best deceptions? What's it going to be? I feel that way too hard.
When you were 17 years old, you get your license, or 16. I don't know how old you are in Oklahoma.
16, yeah.
16. What were you rocking in your car the day you got your license?
Day I got my license was probably that Senses Fail, Let It Unfold You album. And then later that day, because the first thing I did was drive to the mall and go to Hot Topic so I could buy my own music, because it was the first time in my life I could. And so then I bought the Vans Warped Tour compilation, 2002, and that introduced me to all my bands that I love today. And that was on repeat for forever. And that's still one of my favorites. It was crazy when we signed to Side One Dummy. It was this weird like full circle thing, because they were the ones who put out all those albums. So like the album that like changed my musical taste forever, my album came out on that same label, and that's sometimes kind of surreal to me as well.
That's kismet, man.
I'm telling you, you got to believe in that shit, because you'll see it. Like, it is all cyclical. It all comes back.
It's crazy. It's crazy to watch that kind of stuff and how it works and how it happens, and just being able to have those moments, and the time is when they do happen to recognize them. That's the important part. Just
not
to
run from it, but just be like, wow, this is cool. And also like an acknowledgement to the universe or whatever your higher power is, like, I'm paying attention. I'm listening. I'm here. I get it. I get what you're saying. Keep going. I got you. I hear you. And I think I ignored that for so long, because like things weren't going to be good. So I was always self-fulfilling every prophecy I ever had. So, and they all turned out bad. So,
and there's moments in the world, and I try to explain to people, and it's really hard for people to grab a hold of things sometimes and try to there is something controlling something that I believe. I don't know what the fuck it is that I believe, but I know there's something. I'd lost my sister, and anytime that I start to think about her or something, and I'm out somewhere, her favorite song, Tracy Chapman, Fast Car, literally, it happens all the fucking time. And my wife will look at me. She's like, "Are you thinking?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, there's something going on in this universe that I'm just like, all right, cool. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it once you, I think, see that. And for me, once again, it wasn't until I quit drinking that I was able to see it, because I was always running from any feelings I had, or anything that tried to speak to me, because the voices that I was hearing were all like, kill yourself. So, I was trying to block out any external thoughts. And, I think it was, at some point this summer we were in Santa Cruz, and I'm standing on the beach, and it's moonlit, and we're on this completely abandoned beach. And I'm just like, wow, like, this is cool. This is cool. And being able to have that moment, that stopping moment of just going, this is good. Today is a good day. And that's made me, I do that all the time now. I'm like, you know what? Today's a good day. It's a good day. Or like, man, I fucking love that tree over there. Did you guys see that fucking tree? That tree is awesome. And it's like this denial of death, and denial of the hopelessness and the chaoticness of an uncaring and ever expanding universe. Like, to be able to then choose to be kind, because you see the world start to open up when you try and be genuine, and you try and be present, and you try to let your ego go, and to see people and to hear people as they really are and as they really could be. I think that's when you start to see these synchronistic moments of like, you're not alone. And it was always there. I just had learned to ignore it, I think. So
it's because you didn't, the what happens is you it was there, but you didn't want it to be there, so you never accepted it, right?
True.
That's kind of how that works. Is you know it's there because it is some of what's bringing on the pain and despair, knowing that it's there, but not, you don't think it's for you. It's
Right.
once you accept it, you realize that, oh fuck, it was there all along.
I mean,
I
and
just
that's absolutely true, because that's with music. Is like, even when I was younger, like I knew there was something bigger than me because of the way music could make me and other people feel different, and it changed things and it elevated things. And so like that was, music has always been that, like the universe trying to tell me like, hey man, like pay attention, like
yeah.
there are things out here that are for you. But I was a nihilist for so long, where nothing mattered. So even if the universe was, as it did, punching me in the face over and over, I was like, I don't know what's going on, I'm just gonna ignore the signs, it's gonna be all right.
Well, that's the thing too with a song, is finding your own meaning, and that's where, sometimes when someone will explain to me what their song's about, I'm like, I don't want to know. It has a different meaning to me, because it belongs to me now, because you already put it out in the ether. Let it mean to you what it does. I don't need to explain to you what it means to me, but you may have wrote it for this reason, but I love it for this other reason.
And
So
that was a
let me
hard
have
truth to
that.
learn, was like when the first when we put the second EP out, and I was so proud of it. People would talk to me about Small Hours, and I'd be like, yeah, that stuff, it kind of sucks. Like the new stuff's way better. And my friend stopped me one day and goes, you don't get to tell me that sucks. That means something to me. Like
Yeah.
you don't get to dictate what that song means to people. And it was the same with Gas City. We're like, Matt and I thought very quickly, we were like, oh God, this is actually kind of stupid, which it was supposed to be. But then we were like, oh God, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's a stupid song. Like, what were we thinking? And then we started playing it live, and people come up to us and be like, that song, dude, that song gets me through all this. And we were like, it's cheesy. And people were like, shut the fuck up. Like, like, I'm telling you, this song makes me not want to kill myself. You don't get to tell me that song sucks. Like, what are you doing? Shut up.
Yeah, the author's not allowed to write a review on his own book. That's
right. And that's been something that I still struggle with, but it's changed how I look at it. So sure, some of the songs aren't perfect the way I would write them today, but to people, once you've released it, it's not yours anymore. Like sure,
yeah,
like you
doesn't
said,
belong
whatever
to
it
you.
meant doesn't matter.
No,
Because whatever it means to whoever's listening to it, that's all that matters. So like I'll always tell people what the song meant to me, if they ask. But and sometimes live I'll be like, hey, this is what this song's about. But whatever you feel from it, like that's you. And I love that, because there's nothing that makes me happier than someone being like, hey, was this song about this, this, and this? And I'm like, no, but it could be, because that makes a lot of sense, So it's always, it's kind of, there's a lot of joy in that, once you realize that, like, once you've released it, like, you don't have to keep thinking about it. All you can do now is keep giving it to other people.
yeah.
And
And that's the good part about it too, because once you release it and then you go on tour and you're just getting more people, because how many people at the Less Than Jake show and Bowling for Soup show say 25% of them were for CLIFFDIVER, but now all of a sudden there's new CLIFFDIVER fans, right? That never heard of you before. And that's the awesome part about just that growth process.
the greatest part of this whole year was at these shows with them, where people are like, I don't know who your band is. I've never heard of you. I hate openers. Like, I don't give a shit about your band, but guess what? I love your band. Like, yes, let's go. And, they're buying a shirt. They'd never heard of us before. Now they're, buying a shirt and a hat, and they're going to go tell their friends about our band. Like, that's the best part about when you get the opportunity to open for a bigger band. It's not like every night you go out there and, you hear the big guys and you hear people singing along every song. And you're like, man, I can't wait till I get to that point. But then you have to find the joy in every part of the process. And for me, it changed, and it was like, this is so cool. Every night we're telling people who would never listen to my band, our band, about our band. And I always also say the best way to experience CLIFFDIVER is live, because that's where it really all comes together. And so getting these people who'd never heard of us to get to see it live for the first time, like people are like, what is going on here? I didn't know what to expect. There's 7 of you and he doesn't have a shirt on. And like, what are you doing? And we're like, yeah, welcome to the party, dude. We're Cliff Diver, you know?
No, I mean, that's the awesome part. Yeah. And for certain times in my life, I look back and just being like, man, I was a dick. I didn't go to the opener. And in the past 15 years, I have not missed an opener. I'm usually one of the first 5 people through the door when the doors are unlocked for a show, because I'm there for everyone. Like that's it, because I never know when I'm going to find my favorite new band.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we got to do this summer when we did, our shows with Carpool and then our shows with Michael Cera Palin. We had all these, local openers. And sometimes people would show up late. I'm like, you guys are fucking up. Like, these kids rule. Did you not know about these guys? Like, they're about to be your favorite band. And I loved when we brought like Ben Quad and all these other bands on tour, people coming up to being like, holy shit, these guys rule. And I'm like, I know. That's why they're here with us, is because we thought you'd like them, And so that's kind of the same thing where now every show I'm there, at doors, just hanging out, talking to the band, going, oh, what's next? Where are you guys going next? I'm that annoying guy who's like, oh, where'd you play in Atlanta? Oh, okay. We played over here. You went to Baltimore. Where'd you play in Baltimore? I'm that guy now who's coming up to you after the set going, oh, let's go, dudes. You guys ruled. Let's, keep it going. Don't quit. Like, but I love that. That's my favorite part now is, seeing our process and our growth over the last couple of years. Like, I want to be that guy now who encourages the next generation to keep going. The openers who, are playing at 5 to 12 people. I want to be one of those 12 people who's like, dude, all you got to do is keep playing shows. Yeah. All you got to do is keep playing shows. People will catch on. And if they don't, like, that's not on you. You guys rule,
Well, it's one of my favorite things from doing the show and having bands on earlier on when we started this, and seeing when I first saw them and no one was there to see them, and now going to see them play again and the room's bigger and bigger. And I'm just like, fuck yes. Yes.
It's the best. That's why I love seeing my friends' bands get playlisted or festivals. And at first it was like jealousy, like, oh my God, what if they're getting this? Why aren't we good enough? Blah, blah, blah. And it was all about me. But then when you're able to transform that narrative, you go, yes, more people are going to hear this band and they deserve it because they work their butts off and they rule. Like, I love seeing that. It gets me hype because, like, it's the greatest joy. I want everyone to be able to experience what that's like, going from, 6 people at your show to the next time you play that venue, it's sold out and people are screaming at you like that. There's nothing like that feeling. It's the greatest. There's no other. I've done a lot of drugs and there's no drug that touches that. You know what I mean? So it's been awesome. And this year, especially, like, seeing people come back in cities that we'd never been to, but people had seen us at Sticks and Stones Fest or seen us at Riot Fest. And they brought 6-7 friends. It's like every time we sell a shirt, it's not like, oh, good, we get money. No, for me, we just planted a seed in that community that, like, next time we come back, people are going to, like, maybe there'll be 3, 4, 10 more people. Maybe there'll be 20 more people, because everywhere there's a shirt or a hat or a sticker, like, now there's a conversation about what's that about, and that gets me excited. I love that part of the business. That's why I'm at the merch table all night, every night. Every night I'm at there all night meeting everyone, because, like, it's a small business too. It's not the greatest passion, but like,
a band is a business, and people don't truly understand that. They think you're just up there performing, but what you're doing, it's a small business. It's an LLC,
we are an LLC for sure.
Yeah. And, you brought up the drugs, and this is where hearing your story and quitting drinking and everything, I always turn back to listening to, one of the most famous guys ever, Trent Reznor, saying, he's like, I never was drunk or high when I was on stage for any show in my entire career. He goes, it was only afterwards, because the best drug I ever had was that performance. And I always searched for it when that performance was over. And he goes, and that's why I got as shitty as I did, because the greatest thing was performing for people and watching them enjoy what I do.
Yeah. There's nothing like turning a crowd that doesn't care who you are to by the end of it, they're losing their minds. Like there's nothing like that. But like when we started, I was getting hammered on stage, because that was part of the performance of it. I was singing songs about not being able to quit drinking and hating myself. And I was actually like going through those emotions when I was performing. So I had to be a little drunk. And so I was concerned when I quit drinking. Like, what if I'm not a good front man anymore? Because a lot of that pain, was too painful to process without this, that, and the other. And it's funny, like doing it now, like, why would I want to forget any of this? Why would I want to forget a second of, playing for 2,400 people in Dallas, like, and seeing Census Fail play that same stage the next night, Buddy singing the songs I grew up on from the same spot I was singing the night before. Like, why would I want to forget any of this? Like, that is the true, like, feeling of it now. Now it's easy to not be crazy and do those things because it's like I found something that is pure and it is addicting. It is true. I have an addicting personality, and it is hard right now not playing shows. I will tell you, it is hard. I've been doing karaoke more. I've been hopping up at friends' shows, doing guest vocals because I need the rush. I need it.
Yeah.
I need the, it's something else. But
yeah, that's why I want you to stay strong, man, because just listening to the journey and you and I, we talked prior to this, or kind of parallel lines, in life when it comes to stuff. And every day, no matter how good you feel, just know that the struggle's pushing that door to get in, and just always know you can keep moving forward. The struggle's always going to follow you. It never goes away, but just know tomorrow's another day and it'll be fine.
I mean, I'm going through that right now. I mean, even the last couple of days have been pretty disappointing. I mean, like some personal stuff has gone on, and I was getting real down. And I was like, man, shoot, here we go. We're not handling this, blah, blah, blah. And then I just took a second and go, you've been through this before. You've been through way worse stuff. Yeah, today sucks. And today you're stressed out. But you know what? We're okay. We're okay. Like, it's okay. This sucks. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it with you. But like, it's going to be okay. And it always is. Like, even today started off not great. But then by lunch, I was like, I'm not going to have a bad day. I'm not going to do it. There's no reason for it. This sucks, sure, but like we've grown, we've healed, we've done so much work. Like we don't have to let these things run our lives anymore.
And you had something really interesting to look forward to be on the show today. So
no, exactly. I got to spend some time with my son. But all those things is like bad days will always come. But the thing you have to remember is that everything is temporary, good and bad.
Yeah.
And so it lets you let it go a little bit. And not be so angry and so frustrated. Like you let it out, then you go, okay, so what are we going to do now? And that's such a surprising place to be. I'm not surprising, but I mean, it's from where I've been to where I am, being able to handle like these 4 different events that were super disappointing and frustrating, but like not even like take the idea of getting messed up into context going, that doesn't even enter into the equation when it used to be immediately. I have a bad moment. I'm getting trashed that night. You know what I mean? Like now it's like, oof. Oh, that's another one. Okay. All right. We're ready. Let's go. Super Saiyan mode. We're just going to level up. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
This is nothing compared to what you've been through. And that perspective and that, tied to that synchronicity helps you just let the bad days go when they end. You don't have to carry it with you.
Well said. And let's hope that Cliff Diver isn't temporary because I need it in my life as much as you do. So.
We're not going anywhere. There's nothing else. Like, this is it. I'm already all the way in. Like, I'll be 70 screaming about my depression. You know what I mean? There's nothing else. We love it. We love it. So don't worry about that.
We do too. And, we've been here for a while, and I'd like to let you have some more of your night back. But, again, I said it already at the beginning of this, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your experience and telling us everything there is that we need to know about Cliff Diver. Or we can't wait for some amazing things, more amazing things to come from you guys. We appreciate what it is you do. And again, just a really heartfelt thank you for what it is you do. And I just want to make sure that I reiterate that to you, because it's the God's honest truth. I appreciate what it is you do and what you've given to me in my life. So thank you for that, Joey.
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to come and talk and share this passion that we both have. It's pretty awesome. I mean, this is been a great time, and I really appreciate you letting me just come talk and explain the process and let people get to know the people behind the music, that we're just people, and we love you, and anyone who's listening, we love you too. And if you need help, that's okay. Doesn't mean you're weak. You're awesome. So
why don't you take this time to tell everybody how to find everything that Cliff Diver's doing?
Yeah, absolutely. We're Cliff Diver OK on Instagram and Twitter, and we're just Cliff Diver on Facebook, one word. Some people put a space, and that drives me insane, but that's okay. I'll deal with it. We used to have a hyphen, or not a hyphen, a slash in the middle of Cliff Diver, and it was so stupid. I'll send you a picture of it. It was so stupid. But Cliff Diver OK on really Instagram and Twitter are the main ones we use. Facebook's, Facebook. So we post there as often as we can, but we'll post all shows, all new music, everything like that. And I got to tell you, without giving anything away, this is going to be a good year for Cliff Diver. So you're going to want to follow along, because this year's going to get crazy. It's going to be crazy.
I'm definitely going to follow along. That's for sure.
And we're on Spotify too. Oh yeah. Follow us on Spotify, Cliff Diver. That's important. Please listen to our music. And on YouTube, Cliff Diver OK. Yeah. More people should watch our YouTube channel. We have great music videos.
Yeah, your videos are pretty spectacular. I implore people to check them out, because they're a fun time.
Listen, it's been an honor. I mean, really, honestly, getting able to talk about these emotions and let people know that, they're not alone, and the things they're going through is everything to me. So I appreciate the opportunity. It means a lot to me what you do. So,
thank you for that. We're into our final segment. It's our weekly threes. It's where you guys first appeared on this show. It's 3 things we're listening to right now that you'd like to check out. So I don't know if you need to pull up your Spotify or whatever your listening music pleasure is, but if you got 3 things you're listening to that you'd like to share with people, we'd love to hear it.
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, the homies in Ben Quad released a new song called You're Part of It. They put out one of the best LPs, maybe the best LP of last year. Follow them on Spotify, dive into their music. They're insane.
They're righteous. We've talked about them before on the show. I think they're fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I'm scared they're all there is that album, and they rule. So that's probably the song I've been listening to the most. All right. There's probably also, what's the other one that's been reverberating over and over? It's, oh, wait, I have it. It's right here. Or no, it's not. Well, anyway, anime flashbacks by Carpool is another one. That's an awesome song, and you can't go wrong with any of their songs. It's really, really incredible. And they scream like that every night, and I don't know how. It doesn't make any sense. And then the third song, a little embarrassing, but you know what? I'll keep it 100. The third song I've been listening to over and over and over and over is Unholy by Sam Smith. That song is stuck in my head, and I just vibe out in the car. I'll be stuck in traffic, just like, Mama, don't stop at the body shop, and just getting crazy with it. So
listen, the velvety undertones of Sam Smith are nothing to be ashamed of saying you listen to. Fuck you if somebody has a problem with it.
They write a hook like it's no one's business, and it's hooked me, and I'm going to listen to it till I suck all the serotonin and dopamine from it. And just like Blinding Lights from the weekend was like a year. I listened to it every day, and then I was like, this song doesn't bring me joy anymore. So I had to find another one.
Well, that's awesome. Well, that's a great 3. Here are my 3 for this week. My first one is a band called Workwife out of Brooklyn. They're indie pop. The name of the album is Quitting Season. The next band is a band called Bad Hammer out of Berlin. The name of the album is End of an Age. I don't like to do this, but I'm going to say it. If you go to listen to the album, start at the second song. They're very dream poppy Berlin style music. And last but not least, nice Canadian post-hardcore band, Calling All Captains. Slowly Getting Better is the name of the album. Those are my 3 for this week.
I want to change Sam Smith to The Others Like Us with their new song, Tony Hawk Pro Skanker. That's my official 3. So I changed. I changed Sam Smith. Sorry, Sam. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. I'll give you 4. I'm going to allow you to have 4 this week then. All right.
Excellent.
How's that? There it is.
Yeah, it's this new band from Tulsa, one of my good homies, and it's a banger of a song. It gives you everything you want from like 2004 post-hardcore plus dream pop, or plus like some, what's that kind of music with shoegaze. So it's freaking awesome. So Tony Hawk Pro Skanker. No ska is in this song. The Others Like Us. That's what I'll say.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for spending time with us, Joey. We really appreciate it and appreciate what it is you do as an artist and putting it out there for us to judge and listen to and enjoy. So thanks for that, man.
Hey, thanks for having me again. It was a pleasure. Next time we do it, we'll do it with Bree.
Awesome. You're working on another album, so we can do it when that comes out. So
that's a deal. I'm gonna hold you to that.
I hope you do. Everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Cliff Diver, and have a great fucking time.
Don't be so dramatic has probably been said to me so many times. It feels like my brand is overreacting and losing my shit and yelling about how I'm doing just fine. But I'm not fine. Or am I? It's hard to tell. Haven't been able to outgrow the supposed phase of being so damn emotional. I'm sure one day I'll just wake up with a 401k, 2.5 kids, and be fully in control. But for now, I'll ignore the signs and keep skating by like I'll never die. Maybe one day soon I'll regret this, but the truth is I don't love myself enough to change. I saw the same look in my mother's eyes again. She asked if I was getting better. I'm getting better at having to pretend I'm doing fine. Is it a definitive answer? Or whatever. But for now, I'll ignore the signs and keep skating by like I'll never die. Maybe one day soon I'll regret this, but the truth is I don't love myself. Why can't I just love myself? Why do I need something else? This might be a cry for help. Why can't I just love Why can't I just love myself? Why do I need something else? This might be a cry for help. Why can't I just love Why can't I just love myself? Why do I need something else? This might be a cry for help. Why can't I just love?
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.